welcome to my home. I am Victoria Wilder, author of the upcoming novel Lullaby of the Lilitude. It's about 2 weeks away. Are you excited? I am excited. I am so excited. At the time of recording, it's actually a little bit further away, but when you see this, it's going to be 2 weeks away, and I am probably still going to be just as excited. I have been working on this book, as you probably know by now, for about 8 years now. I started it in 2011, and it was based on a dream. I had a lovely dream about vampires and hordes and death and fear, and those are my happiest dreams. So, Lullaby of the Lilitude, after years of toil and trouble and, double copy and erasing, changing things, moving things around, deleting lots and lots of things. I think when I first wrote my first draft, or the start of my first draft, I wrote about 15,000 words. All of those were scrapped, and then I call that the zero draft, and then I wrote another first draft, and then scrapped about almost 6,000 words of that draft. No, I think it was actually closer to 10,000 words of that draft, scrapped. And then I wrote it again, and then I wrote it again, and then I actually started being able to line edit and do all that fun stuff. And now we have a book. I am here today to just kind of talk about my excitement of the book. I hope this video isn't going to be very long. It shouldn't be, because most of you by now, if you've been watching this channel, and I know you have, right? Most of you know what the book is about. Most of you by now know that I've spent these 8 years working on it, and where it came from, and what inspired it, and what kind of music I listened to while writing it. But for those of you who don't know, Lullaby of the Lilitude is a dark urban fantasy set near London in the UK. They do move around quite a bit from London. They go to a fictional place called Livesey. That's where their home is. And there's also a couple of stops off in Luxembourg and in France. It is about a young woman who wakens to find that she is a member of an elite family of godlike beings known as Lilitude. The Lilitude basically run the world, and as far as she knows, only a few of them even exist. Many people see them as gods, and she takes to this really well. She's just like, hey, I'm a god, cool, let's do this, let's be gods. But of course, there's a lot that she doesn't know, and unfortunately, that includes pretty much her entire life up until the point she becomes one of them. She has no real memory of who she is, where she comes from, and what the circumstances are that brought her to where she is now. But she's having dreams that are strange and that sometimes clue her in to the memories she's lost, and sometimes she sees things that don't fit the life that she knows and don't fit the narrative that she knows, and so she's trying to figure out what that means and what it means for her family as a whole because of these things that she's learning. As she's learning these things about her own past, someone from her father's past, the father of this family, someone from his past has shown up, and she's pissed off. She's shown up with a bone to pick with Cayenne, Rio's father. To upset Cayenne, to hurt him, that means hurting the people that are close to him, and of course that includes our main character, Rio. Meanwhile, there is a doctor who is trying to save his wife's life, and he's kind of caught up in all of this Lilitude business unintentionally. He and Rio are on two separate journeys to achieve their goals. Rio to figure out the truth about her past and about her family's past, and him to save someone that he loves. All of these characters, their stories collide in a way that I hope is satisfying without giving you any sort of spoilers. I just want to say that I hope it's satisfying for you. If you haven't already read it, I'm going to go ahead and read the official blurb for the book. This blurb includes a quote from Rio, but is not actually in the book. It's kind of just written for the blurb. So the quote from Rio is, "I don't remember who I am. All I know is that I'm his and nothing else matters. But he's got secrets, and something within me burns to know the truth. How much am I willing to sacrifice to get it? For centuries, gods have walked the earth besides humans. Now, a young woman awakens to find she's one of them. Full grown and with no memory of a life before now, Rio is content to be counted among the world's elite and follow the path her father Kayan has laid before her. That is, she's happy until her memory starts to return, accompanied by increasingly dangerous nightmares. Soon, more than nightmares plague her. A mysterious woman Kayan knew long ago has returned, and she's determined to destroy everything he loves. Unfortunately for Rio, that includes her. Scores will be settled, blood will flow, and a family will be tested. I really, really, really like this blurb. It has changed a lot since I first wrote it, and a big, big, big thank you goes out to my partner Julian, because he actually added that final tagline that I love, and kind of helped me point out a few more details that might help people understand the story a little bit more, like actually naming Kayan. I hadn't done that in any of the earlier blogs. So having his name in there for some reason just feels a lot better. And then that ending tagline, I love it. It's great. So that is the blurb. I keep saying blurg. That is the blurb for Lullaby of the Lilith. I'm just really excited that this book is going to be out in 2 weeks, you guys. Like, it's been such a journey, and I will talk more about this journey as I go along. I am currently outlining the second book in the series, Scourge of the Lilith, which I will have a video discussing not too long after Lullaby of the Lilith is out. And I am also currently drafting another novel called Diva that I have mentioned a few times. I am still deciding whether or not I'm going to release Scourge of the Lilith first later this year, or whether or not I'm going to go ahead and release Diva. There are a lot of thoughts that have to go into deciding that, because, you know, many authors suggest that you release a series first instead of jumping around, but, you know, I don't know, I'm really bad at following the rules. I think it's important to know the rules. I think it's really good to learn the rules. And then I think that having the understanding of certain rules kind of means you should be bending them or breaking them. You know, like, I feel like if you know the rules, then you're better able to break them or bend them in a way that is effective and that still works, and, you know, is something different because it's breaking the rules. But that is still to be decided. We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should I release Diva before I release the second book of the Lilith series? Or should I release Scourge of the Lilith later in the year or early in 2020, then release Diva before the third book? I definitely want to release it before the third book either way. How about some fun facts? Fun fact about Lullaby of the Lilith, it is a part of a series, as you probably guessed, and the series is actually not called the Lilith series. I know that, like, every title in this series is going to have of the Lilith in it, but it's actually called the Journals of Acheron, or the Acheron Journals. I don't remember. It's something about the Journals of Acheron. And the reason I don't actually use that title in any of on the cover, I'm not going to be having it on the covers, I'll probably have it like on a box set or something, is because the Journals of Acheron, the Acheron kind of world, is a lot bigger than what this series is going to consist of. So the Lilith series is a part of the Journals of Acheron, but I do intend to have like a lot of short stories and other side stories that tie into the same world as the Journals of Acheron, and that connects with that world, but are not part of the actual Lullaby of the Lilith, Scourge of the Lilith, Birth of the Lilith, Rise of the Lilith series. Fact number 2, Rio was actually kind of modeled off of me, like physically, and then I found an actual model, and I'll put her name in the description. I don't remember it right now. She's so beautiful. She's just deliciously gorgeous. And so I was like, you're my Rio. And she was actually the last character that I had face cast, because I had modeled her off of me when I was 21, when I first started writing the book. I think I just turned 22 actually, but she's 21, and I modeled her off of me personality-wise. I modeled a lot of her behavior off of what I've learned about my own mental states, my own mental health. I modeled a lot of her looks originally off of me. Her hair was my natural hair, so a lot of the things that she did with her hair were just things that I did with my hair when I had it big and puffy. But now her face is this other model who is gorgeous but also has no hair. So now her hair is just imaginary. No one has that hair. I mean, lots of people have that hair, but none of the models that Rio was modeled off of. But yeah, she was basically modeled off of me. She is not like me. I know, that's a big thing in the writing world where people make characters that are basically themselves. Rio is not me. There's a lot that I don't agree with. There's a lot of the way she behaves and thinks that I don't really necessarily agree with. If anybody, I'm probably closer to a Tabitha or even maybe Cayenne. And sometimes I think I'm a little bit Grania. And when you read it, you'll understand why. Fun fact number 3, related to fun fact number 2, all of the characters have a model, like a real life person that I modeled their physicality off of, and their personalities just kind of came out of what I thought the physicality looked like. My favorite character in this whole book, okay, I don't know if he's my favorite in the whole book, but he's definitely, like, I loved writing him, and I wish I could spend more time writing him just for the heck of it, is Samson. And Samson is a part of Rio's family. He's one of the first people she meets in the story, and he was based off of, what's his name? Donald Corleone? No. I'll also link his name in the description. He's modeled after a UFC fighter named Donald Cerrone, or Cerrone. I'm sure I'm like pronouncing that wrong. It's Cerrone. And he's basically like a martial arts cowboy. That's the best way I can describe this UFC fighter. And so, like, all of his pictures, he's got this big grin, and he's wearing like a Stetson, like a black cowboy hat, and he's boisterous, and like even in pictures you can just tell that this guy has like this huge personality. And so that's who I modeled Samson after, and like I'm in love with the UFC fighter. Like when I was doing this modeling, I was just looking at his pictures like all day long because he's beautiful. He's a gorgeous man, and like I think his Samson I already loved a lot, even from the beginning. Like when I first started making Samson, his original model was one of the guys from, I think, Duck Dynasty, one of those big bearded dudes. And then I was like, nah, it doesn't really fit Samson anymore. I think he would be, the way they're chosen is partially because of their looks and their usefulness. So I thought, he needs to be a little bit less beardy and rugged and Duck Dynasty type, and more of an aggressor, kind of hyper masculine, but like muscular, sexually devastating type. So that's Samson. Cayenne was actually modeled after a model named Pedro Perestello. I think I'm saying that right. I actually follow him on Instagram. He's such a gorgeous human being. So if you're trying to see what Cayenne looks like, Pedro Perestello, I think is his name. If I'm not pronouncing that right, I will also have all the model names in the description, because even though I don't know these people personally, I am absolutely grateful to them for lending their face to the public and letting me kind of use their physicality as a model for my characters. Fun fact number 3, 4, I don't remember where I was. Fun fact number 3 or 4, and I'm not even sure if this is a fun fact so much as just something that helped me to finish the book. I had a friend, a very close friend, and I still love him, I still care about him, even though he was a jerk. But he told me very early on that I was never going to finish this book. He looked me in my eyes and I was talking about it, I was excited about it, it was very early in the stages, and he goes, "You're never going to finish that book. I'm sorry, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen." That's what he said to me, and that ticked me off so much that I was like, I don't care if it takes 10 freaking years, I'm gonna finish this dang book. And I finished the dang book! And now I get to rub that in his face for the rest of his life. I guess that is a fun fact. Fun fact next. I resized the book. So originally the book was going to be 6x9, which is standard trade book. Most books that you buy from pretty much anywhere are going to be 6x9. So originally, and this is a proof copy, The book was about this size, but I ended up getting it a lot smaller so that it had almost 100 extra pages because I wanted it to be a lot thicker. If you can see at 6x9, it's like a pretty sizable book. It's not like a tiny book, but it's just not thick enough for me because I did want it to have a hard copy version, and I think hardcover version, and I think hardcover versions have to be thicker. That's just my opinion. It's just how I feel about it. So I made it like this much smaller and like this much shorter so that the pages thicken up. Which, can we just take a second to like look, this is a book, you guys. This is my book. This is not the, this is like an old proof. So fun fact, next, I actually ordered proofs for almost every step of the way, just so that I had a print copy to look at and to write on and edit when I was going through editing, even from the first draft. So maybe I will show you guys that at the end of the video, just kind of all the proofs that I have. I'm waiting for my final, like, this is the one you're going to buy proof, and then I will maybe tack that onto this video, since like I said, it is a few weeks before you're actually going to see it. I'll tack that on to the end of this video as soon as that arrives and just show you all of the proofs for Lullaby of the Lilith that I've gotten over the last like 2 years, because I finished the first full draft of this book in November of 2017 during NaNoWriMo. It was the first time I ever participated in NaNoWriMo. I didn't win, but I did finish my book because I'd already had about 30,000 words written when I started. So that was just an amazing experience. I love NaNoWriMo. I try to do it every year. I tried to do it in 2018 and it just kind of went bad because I was in Chicago. I was with family. Writing in November when you're away for that long just doesn't work. I did end up writing about 25,000 words that month as well, so like, still good. Another fun fact, the book Diva that I keep mentioning, I actually had the seed idea for that book long before I ever even thought about Lullaby the Lilith. So I was in my early 20s. I was like I said, I think 21 or just turned 22 when I had that dream that became Lullaby of the Lilith. Diva, I had actually started drafting when I was 17 years old, and I lost my laptop, which was the only copy I had of it. I say lost, it was stolen. That was gone, and I kind of gave up on the idea. And then during that NaNoWriMo, when I finished Lullaby of the Lilith, I was like, trying to think of more things to write, and one day the idea just popped into my head. That same, literally, like, I think I just finished my book not too long before that. I was trying to just kind of take myself away from the Lullaby world for a little bit. This was even before I'd even named the book. I didn't even have a name for Lullaby at that time. And Diva just popped up, like the entire basic outline. I wrote it in about an hour, and I was like, I got another book in me! Awesome! And that is such a good feeling, having another book, knowing that you're going to be able to do this, knowing that I can not only write one book, but I can be ready to write another one, that I can plot more books, that I can do short stories, that writing is something that not only it's been a part of my life forever, it's been a hobby for me, but it can be more than that. And being able to know that is just so fulfilling. It just feels so good. And so I appreciate it. And I appreciate you for watching this video and listening to me ramble about my book and about these fun facts and other stuff. I appreciate you being here, watching these videos, clicking like and subscribe and hitting that bell so you can get notifications whenever I upload. And I definitely appreciate you going and buying my book on May 26th. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye.